So you breathe. So if you wake up in the morning and you have some ideas and you have to make them, and this become like a kind of almost obsession, and you have to create, and you have this urge to create, you're definitely an artist. But you're not a great artist, you're just an artist. To be a great artist, there's all different types of rules. And you really have to
the only advice you ever hear is something you already know and just get confirmed. If you think of all the advice that you've heard, 50 million pieces of advice given, and there may be 3 or 4 pieces of advice you can think of having taken.
When I was really young, William Burroughs told me, when I was really struggling, we never had any money, and William, the advice that William gave me was build a good name. Keep your name clean. Don't make compromises.
acercarse al arte contemporáneo. La idea es tratar de entender qué estaba atrás de la cabeza de muchos de los artistas que hacen su obra, qué cambios cambiaron la manera de pensar la obra de arte. eso, el año agresivo tuvo varias preocupaciones, ¿no? Pero que marcaron de alguna manera el quiebre, o digo, un punto de fiesta, el quiebre que va a producir la fiesta, o ya a partir de la
Is the age in which design is still cute furniture, is still posters, is still fast cars, which you see at home and today. But in truth, what I really would like to explain to the audience at home is that the most interesting chairs are the ones that are actually made by a robot. Like a toy where a robot deposits into space like a blur of recycled refrigerated parts, as it were makes a chair. Or design our digital fonts that we use all the time that we have part of our identity. I want people to understand that design is so much more than that it is important. Even deeper into interaction design with examples that are emotional, really suggestive, and that really explain interaction design in a way nobody knows. Be with that by walking through.
A prohibition imposed by social culture as a protected event. Something that is not acceptable to say, mention, or do. Something that is taboo. A prohibition against touching, saying, or doing something for fear of immediate harm from a supernatural force. Looks like if you guys do any of these art taboos, you're going to get hit by lightning. Hey guys, I'm Robo Josh, and today we're going to talk about some art taboos that I've heard of and some of the ones that I've learned from you guys that actually are the art taboos. Definitely affected me, so hopefully this will help you guys out and be a little bit entertaining to hear some of the crazy things that we've been told. Alright, so this one is from Mary. This is 214 likes at this time right now. This is the one I vibe with the most. If you use reference, it's not real artwork and it doesn't count as your art. And then you see their art, it's the same pose every time. That's a whole different topic, but yes, using references, I hate how that's seen as a taboo so much because there's always this super constant idea of, oh, if you use this, it's a crush. It's something that you're going to rely on for the rest of your life. When in reality, it doesn't matter the process. Let me rephrase that. I do definitely take pride in the process for your artistic journey or just learning a skill. But when it comes to the artwork itself, the important thing that people care about is the final result. It's not the process. It's not how you did it. So even with that, using references is completely irrelevant. Even if you trace something, right? Even if you trace photographs that you took, so that plagiarism is out of the way, and you just traced everything, and somehow you made everything look great, so that studios actually liked what you were doing, and people who were hiring you or commissioning you for little things here and there liked what you were doing, and you were able to do it fast enough, they wouldn't care if you were tracing. They'd just be like, all right, whatever, I like your work, it looks great, you're doing it quickly, we're going to pay you for this, right? That's all that matters. And so when it comes to references, it just doesn't matter if you use them or not. It's helpful, and then on the other side, references help you learn a lot. Like one of the paintings I'm doing right now, I have using all of that.
the art teacher to do some special project, like Thanksgiving Day or Independence Day, particular on the whole. So I think that's a giving recognition, courage, just so that doesn't go on. Chateau, and Well, because of the social one there. And all kinds of other things became possible. And here in certain conceptual art, which I was part of, and where you did art with other stuff. And so the whole structure moved on. One looks at it this way, here's an image. It's a lot faster. And you can also do over time. I'm going to say a lot of art, my video was much boring because it was 30 minutes long, an hour long. The exercise was really pain and nobody did editing all the time. The things have changed in that sense, and of course. I think through it was a line of language. Everything explains all the that word. Always put a word or a phrase with you. Words like title. Each one. Oh, they're all kind of years ago, when bookstore in Hollywood,
I go to a show and I see a beautiful inspired artist, particularly it's so good because clearly look to design to understand what it is. So I really do believe that design is the highest form of creative expression. That's why I'm talking to you today about the age of design. And the age of design is the age in which design is still cute furniture, it's still posters.
Acá está deliciosa, pero vamos a ver si lo logramos. Es hacer un viaje, un recorrido a lo largo del siglo.
The only advice you ever hear is something you already know, and it just gets confirmed. If you think of all the advice that you've heard, 50 million pieces of advice you've heard, and there may be 3 or 4 pieces of advice you can think of having taken.
When I was really young, William Burroughs told me never had any money. And William, the advice that William gave me was build a good name. Keep your name clean. Don't make compromises. Don't worry about making a bunch of money or being successful. Be concerned with doing good work and making the right choices and protect your work. And if you build a good name, eventually, that name will be its own currency.
The only advice I have is probably things that a lot of young musicians and artists already know. That although some of them may have the ambition to be the next Jay-Z or the next whatever it is, the number of those artists are very, very small. And often the artists who are very successful that way, they don't have much flexibility.
both my parents.
Almost like a crazy evangelical. I've always known at the age of
Taboo. A prohibition imposed by social custom or as a protective measure. Something that is not acceptable to say, mention, or do. Something taboo. A prohibition.
Es bastante ambiciosa, pero vamos a ver si la logramos.
Well, both my parents are.
All right, so to kick it off here,
When I was 11, I remember waking up one morning to the sound of joy in my house. My father was listening to BBC News on his small gray radio. There was a big...
So when I was teaching, this was one of the tests I will ask, how you know you're an artist. That's the main question. And to know if an artist or not is like a breathing. You don't question breathing. You have to breathe, otherwise you just die, so you breathe. So if you wake up in the morning and you have some ideas and you have to make them, and this become like a kind of almost obsession, and you have to create, and you have this urge to create, you're definitely an artist, but you're not a great artist.
Taboo. A prohibition imposed by
all right, so to kick it off here, we're going to do a...
He would say, "Listen, my daughter,
Last December, I traveled to Ada with a group for a day trip during the year of return to visit the Nchimchim art installation, which featured artwork by Kwame Akoto Bamfo.
Of the stool, why we do the stool, and then let people who come here actually use the stools. So hopefully we will get to the part where we will even create the sculptures with more strong material so we can touch them, unlike in other museums where you don't have any personal relationship with the artwork. Yeah. So without much ado, I will explain the first piece. We will move to the front, and then I'll explain the first.
We were allowed to take photos and videos of the Nchimchim exhibit. It was only the new piece that we were not allowed to photograph or film.
Yeah, and then there's one up the tree there.
The goats.
Yes.
One on the tree. Oh, I just see the one on the tree there.
So the idea is to integrate the artwork as much as possible, and then have a lot of people who know the story and history. So as you sit down, you will enjoy and then learn at the same time. So the story goes like there were these goats in their world, in their civilization, and I picked goats as my symbol because, again, this is the contemporary side of the installation, and I need to use icons and jargons that youth can relate to. So goats for greatest of all time. For those who are on social media, you know that a lot. So yeah, so these goats were in their world and in their civilization, which is shown by all these trees and these roots over here. And they are trying to reach the best of themselves, which for goats is indicated by how high they can climb. So that's why we have that goat up the tree.